Thank you. Good evening, students. How are you doing? Let me log in for the questions and see what are the questions you have for today. As we had discussed in the last class, looking for all clarifications on the topic of exemptions so that any queries you have, you could ask and we could discuss on that. And we have some topics on exemptions which is still pending. We could discuss that also. Make an exercise for government services also. Government services. Okay. Government services exercise would be a little tough because there's so many things, but I'll take this as a feedback and during my next session, whenever I have on exemptions, that time I will take up on some exercise for the government services. Like how we did exercise for GTA and motor vehicles. Doing that way would be a little tough, but we'll just try to do something. I wanted to revise everything done in past lecture. Where should I do it from? Like, do you recommend reading study-wise capsule or notes uploaded by you or module or like 30 minutes time? Or 30 minutes. Okay. You want to do a revision? Then in each chapter wise, you'll have to go because mine would not help you in revision because I'm going in detail. So I would recommend you to go to the subject wise capsules. That will be better so that you could revise it. Consideration paid to government for non-performing a contract by a person is exempt, but consideration paid by government to a person for the same, is it exempt or no? Consideration paid to government for non-performing a contract is exempt, but consideration paid by government, that is not exempt because the exemption says is so consideration paid to government itself. Okay, so it's only paid to the government will be exempted. What is the difference between primary market and retail market? Primary market is the one market wherein the goods are being first brought into, like from the agriculturist directly, it comes to the primary market, where from the primary market, it goes to the retail market. That is the main APMC yards. These are all examples of primary market, wherein goods are not sold for retail container, but for wholesale containers. So that is the primary market. And from there, it goes to the wholesalers or the distributors. That is the retail market. Okay. I will upload the notes today because some questions were there and question and answers. If I upload it without answer, that's wrong. So I wanted to upload it with answers. That's why after this class, I will upload it. Is fines exempted from GST? Fines is a method of tax, so there is no GST on fines. Okay, like interest when we pay or fines when we pay, on that there will not be any GST. Ramchandra, I don't have any revision notes, so we are all compelled, the studies, the teachers, the faculties who teach on the board of studies, we have to follow what is the curriculum given by the board of studies. And we don't have any kind of a revision lectures, but I would suggest this to the board of studies that they make revision lectures so it will be helpful for you. All this charts I will definitely upload. Since after our discussion today, I wanted to upload it, so we will upload it today. Okay, so let's get into the chapter. We will start discussing on further exemptions. So till last class, what we had discussed was on the transportation exemptions. So when we saw what is the exemption for passenger transport and what is the exemption for goods transport. Okay, so this was very clear, but it was a little confusing to some extent, but we have at least at the end, we have achieved that we got some clarity. What are random goods, whether it's forward charge and reverse charge, those things we were clarified. Now we'll get into the next exemption, which is right of admission to various events. Right of admission means what? When you're entering any event, okay, then there you have to pay some entry charges. Okay, like when you go to a mall, not a mall, if you go to some exhibition, you have to pay some exhibition entry charges, right? So when we go and to go to the exhibition, pay some entry charges. There is this is called as right of admission to that event, or it could be a concert, or it could be a sporting event. Right now, these are right to admission to various events. Now, whether these events are exempted or no is what we are going to look at. First is museums. Museums, national parks, wildlife sanctuary, tiger reserves, and zoo are exempt for any value, because what these are all for some run generally run by government, and these are all to encourage the tourism in these places, right? So these places are exempted. If you go to any government museum means any museum, national park, wildlife sanctuary, tiger reserves, or any zoo, they will collect entry charges, say 500 rupees for one day. Now, this is exempt even if they collect of any value. Why? Because some exemptions we'll see is limited to some value. But here, in case of these five places, it is exempted for any value. Then we have protected monuments. For protected monuments means any ancient sites and archaeological sites and remains act or state act. Okay, so what is a protected monument? A protected monument is one which is decided or confirm the name as this is a protected monument under the Ancient Sites and Archaeological Sites and Remains Act, or any respective state acts. If it is a protected monument, then that is also exempt for any value. Okay. So this is museum and protected monuments. Now, what is taxable? Taxability of water park, theme parks, exhibitions, all of this is fully taxable, because what is exempted is only these museums, national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, circus. Circus will come under this? No, because circus is not where you will find animals. You will find animals, but it is not a national park or a tiger reserve or a wildlife sanctuary. Okay, so circus will not come here. Circus will come under separate thing, and we have a limit for that, but it will not cover primarily under this. So what is exempt? Museum, national park, wildlife sanctuary, tiger reserve, and zoo. What is fully taxable? Any water park, theme park, exhibitions is fully taxable. Film city, innovative film city, Ramoji Film Studio at Hyderabad, amusement parks, okay, cinema halls, theaters, all of this is fully taxable. Fine. Now there are exemptions which is subject to certain limits. What is this? Circus, dance, theatrical performance, including drama or ballet. Just one moment. Okay. Any kind of circus, dance performance, or including drama or ballet. Then you have any award functions, any concert or pageant, or any musical performance, or any sporting event. Okay, other than recognized sporting event, because recognized sporting event we have separate category there. So other than recognized sporting event, then you have recognized sporting event and any planetarium. Okay, all of this is exempt if the consideration is up to 500 rupees per person. If they're charging 500 rupees, then for circus, dance, theatrical performance, award function, registered recognized sporting event, and planetarium, it is exempted. Okay, so up to 500 rupees that will become exempted. Above that, it will be taxable. So biggest question comes here is cricket match. So cricket match, if it is an international cricket match or any kind of a cricket match which is organized by the sporting body, then it is exempted. IPL, all those things are taxable. Okay. Does museum cover planetarium? No. Museum is separate, planetarium is separate. Museum covers museum which is exempt of any value. Museum is a place where some kind of experimentation or old things will be kept. It will be decided as a museum under the Museums Act itself. And planetarium is different. So planetarium and museum are different, and taxability is also different. For museum, it is exempt for any value. For planetarium, it is exempted if the entry fees is up to rupees 500. So if it is 600 rupees, will it be like taxable on a value of differential of 100? No, it will not be the case. It will be taxable for the whole value. So 500 is the limit. Up to 500 rupees exempted. Above 500 rupees, if they're charging any entry fees, then the whole value will be taxable. Okay. So where is this given in the study material? Okay, so I have to again give a reference to the study material. I'll give you the reference. Right of admission to various events. Page number is 4.85. Right of admission to various events. Here you will find entry number 79, 79A, and 81. Okay. Now, what is recognized sport body? Recognized sport body means the Indian Olympics Associations, Sports Authority of India, a national sports federation recognized by the Ministry of Sports, and National Sports Promotion Organization, International Olympic Association, and Federation are a body which regulates a sport at international level. Okay, so these are the recognized sports body. So Olympics are anything done by the SAI, that is Sports Authority of India, National Sports Federation, recognized by the Ministry of Sports, National Sports Promotion Organization, International Olympics Association, Federation are a body. Now these are the sports recognized sporting authorities and sporting bodies. Now what is the recognized sporting events which are organized by these sporting bodies or organized by some other authority? So if you see the entry, then you'll get a detailed explanation there. Fine. Did you get the reference? What is planetarium? Planetarium is a place where you can see how the planet operates. Like in each city, you'll have a planetarium wherein they will show how the solar system works. Okay, and they'll show explain you the universe, galaxy, and things. That's called a planetarium. IPL is also organized by BCCI, but it is not a recognized sporting activity. I mean, cricket is a recognized sports, but IPL is not organized by the sporting authority. That's the reason it is not a exempted service. It's a taxable event, and that's why it will be completely taxable. What about a national conference to be held in this month? It will be charged some fees. Is it exempted or no? It will be taxable. It will not be exempted. Okay, because it is not falling under any of these exemptions. Okay, so only what is exempted will be these. Apart from this, conference of the ICI and other things will be completely taxable. Now, apart from this entry fees, if there is some performance, since it is related to events, I've covered it over here itself, service by an artist. Okay, an artist, any kind of artist who's doing the following performance. Like what performance? In folk or classical art form of music, dance, theater is exempt if consideration is up to 1.5 lakhs. So there is a dancer or a musician, but any kind of Hollywood or Bollywood dance? No. Any kind of folk or classical art form. If they are providing any classical or folk art form of music, dance, or theater, it will be exempt if consideration is up to 1.5 lakhs. Okay, they are doing any performance and they're getting some money, some kind of fees they're charging for performing. It should be what form? It should be only folk or classical form of music, dance, or theater. So any kind of modern form will not be allowed. Folk and classical art form should be there. It will be exempt if the consideration is up to 1.5 lakhs. In Bollywood songs, fully taxable. And as a brand ambassador, it will be fully taxable. Okay, so if they are acting as a brand ambassador for a product and they are doing these things, still it will be taxable. It should be pure folk and classical art form and not as a brand ambassador. Only then it will be exempt if the consideration is up to 1.5 lakhs. Clear on this? Okay. What about football match? Similarly, all kinds of sporting matches which are recognized only will be exempted, others will be taxable. Are private sponsored filmfare awards, etc., taxable? And it's national and is national awards given by president, they are also taxable? No. National awards given by the president, generally they will not collect any entry fees. If they collect entry fees also, then also it will be taxable because it is not falling under any of these exemptions. So any kinds of award functions like Filmfare Awards, all of that will be taxable. Okay. Mohammadin Vora, I didn't receive any of your questions. Please ask me your question. If music composer composing the song and selling, it will be taxable. Yes, music composer composing and selling the songs, because there is nothing of a category which fits under this exemption. So this exemption is straight jacket. It is very clear. Only if it falls under this, it will be exempted. Everything else will be taxable. Okay. So we'll get into the next exemption of RWA, which means Residential Welfare Association. Okay. So just understand this thing, very easy to understand, but it will be a little confusing. So understand this with me. Residential welfare associations are who? They are the associations of a apartment or any kind of associations which is being formed. Okay. Like a association of garment people, of association of garment sellers, generally residents, that is all welfare association, but here they're specifically talking on RWA, which means RWA is a residential welfare association. So any charges collected by the residential welfare association, whether it's taxable or no, is what we are discussing. So look at the residential welfare association's annual turnover. What does it do? You have like 50 apartments in a apartment, right? To maintain this apartment, you have a association. This association is called a residential welfare association. Now they collect money from all the 50 landowners or 50 houses, and they spend for common area maintenance, right? Like I have a house in apartment. Inside my electricity is run. I will get a separate electricity bill and I'll pay it. But my water is common. Now, who will pay bill for that? Thus, Residential Welfare Association will pay. What? Who will pay electricity bill for common area maintenance like lifts or parking areas, right? And security charges has to be paid. All of this is taken care by this Residential Welfare Association. They will make incur all these expenses on behalf of the residents of the apartment. Now, once they make the payment, they will collect money also from me. Now, this money, what they collect is called as monthly maintenance charges. Now, whether this monthly maintenance charges is exempt or taxable, they said first is whatever collections you do from your associate, from your members, up to 7,500 rupees is exempted. Okay, anything above 7,500 you collect will be taxable. Fine. So 7,500 rupees I've collected, say from that's a monthly limit, not yearly limit, 7,500 per month. So if they collect up to 7,500 rupees per month, it will be exempted. Now there are 10 flats. From each house, they're collecting 5,000 rupees. Okay. So they've collected 5,000, which is below 7,500 rupees. So it is exempted. No doubts in that. But if they collect 10,000 rupees, will it be taxable or no? They will have to see what is the total limit also. 10,000 rupees collected from 10 flats. Monthly is 10,000 rupees collected from 10 flats, makes it as 1 lakh rupees per month. In 12 months, it becomes 12 lakhs. So should they still pay GST because it is more than 7,500? For that, you have to see another limit, which is the registration limit. If you are not registered and if you are collecting any amount below the threshold limit for registration, then even if you're collecting above 7,500, you don't have to pay GST. Why? Because my collections itself is less than the registration limit. In my examples, it was 12 lakh rupees, which is below the registration limit of my state, which is 20 lakhs. So I am collecting lesser value than the threshold value, so I don't have to pay any GST. So up to 12 lakh rupees, even if the collection is above 7,500 rupees, no GST. That is what is the point here. Annual turnover also has to be seen and monthly maintenance charges. I was talking about this example wherein annual turnover of the residential welfare association is 20 lakh rupees or less. So up to 20 lakhs, no registration required. Now, if they are collecting more than 7,500, is it exempt? Yes. Is it less than 7,500? Yes. Both the cases it is exempted. But if the collection is more than 20 lakhs, if it is more than 20 lakhs, then monthly maintenance charges, if I'm collecting more than 7,500, only then it will be taxable. Exemption status no, which means it is taxable. Less than 7,500, this is exempted. Clear with this? 7,500 is the limit, but before applying the 7,500 limit, you have to see the turnover limit also. The turnover, if it is less than 20 lakhs, no registration required. Then no GST on any amount to collect up to 20 lakh rupees, even if the charges are more than 7,500 rupees per month. If the turnover limit is crossed 20 lakhs, then you have to see whether you're collecting more than 7,500. Even if you're crossing 20 lakhs and collecting less than 7,500, up to 7,500 rupees in exemption, you don't have to pay GST on that. Another point to be noted is this 7,500 rupees has to be checked per flat per month and not per member. What does it mean? I have one flat, so you will see the exemption from me up to 7,500 rupees. Now, if I have two flats, and if you're collecting, say, 6,000, which is 6,000 per flat, and the total amount is 12,000, can you tell I'm collecting more than 7,500, then it is taxable? No, because per flat you have to consider and not per member. I am one member of two flats, so you will not consolidate and see the number. You will see what is the maintenance you're collecting per flat basis. Per flat, it is 6,000, below 7,500. So even if I have two flats, for both will be exempted because the limit is 7,500 rupees. Clear? Sir, are national awards taxable? Yes, national awards also are taxable. If an actor gives a dance performance and donates the entire fees for charitable purpose, will it be taxed? Yes, still, if it is a folk or art form dancer, then it will be exempted. But if she is collecting something and then giving, generally what they do, they don't collect anything and they give it. It directly goes to the charitable organization. Then there's no consideration to the person who's doing a dance. Then it will be exempted because the charitable purpose is the one who is receiving the person, and the dance is done by a dance performance, but the consideration doesn't come to the dance performer. Then it will be exempted. But if it comes to the dance performance, she takes the amount and then gives it to the charity, then it will be taxable, right? Because it is my money, I'm getting it and I'm giving it, then it will be taxable. An artist get both filmy and folk together fees. Okay, so it's for each event. That event for which they do folk, and the VAT consideration is up to 1.5 lakhs per event, right? It's not total for the year or something like this. It's per event, Nagraju. So if they do filmy thing, then it will be taxable. If they do folk, then it will be exempted. What is GSTR 9 and 9C? Mohammed Wara, what is it relevant in this context? It is not relevant in this context, but anyways, GSTR 9 and 9C means the annual returns, like how we have monthly returns. Similarly, we have annual returns, which is in GSTR 9, and annual reconciliation statement in GSTR 9C. Club entries falling under this act. Club entries are falling under any other entries. So entry to the club will be taxable, not under exemption. Banking and financial services, not done, Kavita. We'll do it subsequently. आरडब्ल्यूए गवर्नमेंट से रजिस्टर्ड होती है। आरडब्ल्यूए गवर्नमेंट से रजिस्ट्रेशन होने की जरूरत नहीं है, वो अपने खुद का सोसाइटी से या लोकल एक्ट से रजिस्ट्रेशन होते हैं। मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टेट्स में क्या होता है, वो लोकल सोसाइटीज एक्ट से रजिस्ट्रेशन लेते हैं। Okay? Are RWA same as housing society? Yes, absolutely right. RWA are same as housing societies. Correct. What is RWA? Exactly, RWA is like in metro cities, multi-storied cooperative societies, buildings for registration, residential purpose are constructed for people to reside. One is the builder, but builder के अलावा the association can be a cooperative society or just a normal society which does the activity of collection of maintenance charges from the residences for utilization of the residences itself. Okay, nothing like they spend outside or something like that. Whatever collection is there from the residents, from the flats, from the housing society, they collect it and they spend it for the benefit of the housing society. That is a residential welfare association. Okay. Then on crossing threshold limit, who will charge all the excess? Once the limit is crossed, then the residential welfare association along they will give a bill. No, they'll generally give an invoice for the maintenance collections. In that maintenance collection, in the say amount as 8,000 rupees because it is crossed 7,500 rupees, they'll say 8,000 plus GST on the 8,000 rupees. Okay, so they will collect it from the members and deposit to the government. Kanhaiya Singh, is it not like forging of consideration? No, it is not because that's the limit which I have. I have an upper cap of total consideration and I have a lower cap for collection per residential association. So I can, it is a legal way and correct way of doing it. If event has both folk music and modern music, then it depends on the person who's performing. If the person who's performing is performing folk music, then it will be exempted. And if he's performing modern music, then it will be taxable. So what he performs is important. Then in that case, foregoing of consideration. Okay, foregoing of consideration should be yes. Foregoing of consideration wherein he is not providing a service, but he is not taking any consideration, then it will not be considered at all. But if he is collecting the consideration, only then it will be taxable. Please explain protected monument concept. Protected monuments means these monuments, जैसे old monuments are there, like I've seen the Qutub Minar or the Red Fort. Those places, you'll see that there is a board called as this is considered as a protected monument under the Protected Monuments Act, and there'll be some entry ticket which is charged. That these monuments which are to be protected further are called as protected monument. So when we enter these monuments, there is an entry fees which is getting charged. On that, there is no GST. Okay. So monthly maintenance charge 8,000 rupees per flat per month, but annual turnover 19 lakhs है, फिर भी GST exempt होगा? हाँ, क्योंकि 20 लाख से नीचे टर्नओवर है और आपका कलेक्शन मोर देन 7,500 है, फिर भी एग्जेम्प्ट होगा क्योंकि आपका एनुअल टर्नओवर लेस देन 20 lakhs है. Audience came in comedy show or KBC and they charge some amount. So is it taxable? हाँ, 100% because comedy show और KBC exemption में नहीं है. So that will be taxable. And the limit is 10 lakhs for specific state. Correct. तो मैं लिमिट जो बोल रहा हूँ some specific states के लिए, अगर इस स्टेट में लिमिट 10 lakhs है और आपका कलेक्शन अमाउंट 12 lakhs है, तो फिर आपको टैक्स पे करना पड़ेगा, फिर आपको एग्जेम्पशन नहीं मिलेगा. So that is per state wise. RWA, like Secretary of Society, RWA means Residential Welfare Association. It is like society. What are the part of the RW revenues apart from maintenance charges? Mostly they collect maintenance charges. Apart from that, they collect other charges like if there's some event. So in the for event, they'll collect some charges. Okay, so those are the other revenues what a RWA has. Maintenance nowadays collected by flats will also be included. What is your question, Alok? Not clear. Ramchandra, sir, in certain cases of RWA, the society apart from house consists of medical and provisional stores. In that case, how is it considered in this exemption? Yeah, so the RWA exemption is only for collections of maintenance charges, nothing else. So if a association or society is there and they have let out shops and they're collecting some other money, then that will be fully taxable. No exemption will apply to that because there is no exemption for that. Okay, like I have collection of residential welfare associations up to 12 lakh rupees and I have 6 lakhs rent. So total is 12 plus 6 is 18, which is below my threshold of 20 lakhs, then that will be exempted. But if my residential is exempted, saying I'm collecting 5,000 from everyone and the total collection of my amount is say 19,000 rupees of the members. Okay, now if I have a so given out a rent of a shop and I'm getting 5 lakh rupees. Then how much is my limit? The total limit is crossing, which is 18 plus 5 makes it 23. Then that 5 lakh will be taxable. If I've crossed the limit, once I cross the limit, then it will be taxable. Maintenance are also charged from semi-constructed flats. Yes. Generally, maintenance is collected from a constructed flat. If it is semi-constructed, they collect one-time amount called as deposit, and then they collect monthly maintenance charges. So we are talking about monthly maintenance charges itself. If a person has more than one apartment in RWA, what will be the exemption in that case? In that case, as I said over here, the residential, the limit is 7,500 per to be checked per flat per month and not per member. So if a person has more than one apartment, then you don't have to see what is the total amount paid by that person. You have to see for each unit or for each house, how much is he paying. For each house, if he's paying below 7,500, then it will be exempted. Okay. If a music contains both folk music and Bollywood music or a mixture of both, how will it be done? It will be done on the performance. If the person who's performing is doing folk performance, then it will be exempted. If he's doing mixed, then it will be taxable. Or if he's doing, because it says pure folk or art form. Okay, only then it will be exempted. If it is a mixed form, then nothing is mentioned, which means it will be out of exemption and it will be taxable. Okay. If a folk song is being presented with a modern composition, will that be exempted? Still, it's a folk song itself, so it will still be exempted because what is it? It's basically a folk song. It will be exempted. Okay, let's move to the next exemption then. Residential Welfare Association, very clear. We understood this. Limit is 7,500 rupees. Any collection above 7,500 will be taxable. Legal services. Legal services, is it exempt or no? We know that it is under reverse charge. Clear? We know that it is under reverse charge. But legal services, when provided to a business entity with gross limit more than the threshold limit, only then it is taxable under reverse charge. But in all other cases, it is exempted and it is sometimes taxable. What is it exempted? We'll see here. Individual firm or individual or a firm of advocates or the supplier is providing to another individual advocate or a firm of advocates is exempted. So from one legal firm to another legal firm, all services are exempted, nothing to be paid under reverse charge. Individual or firm providing to a senior advocate is exempted. Individual to a business entity with gross receipts below the threshold limit and they're not registered. Basically, they're not registered and their limit is below 20 lakhs, then or the 40 lakhs or 10 lakhs, some state wise. Each state wise we'll have to see. If it is below that limit, then it is exempted. If it is provided to business entity which has crossed the limit, now they're not registered. Will you tell them to pay GST? Yes, still they will are liable to pay GST because their limit is crossed the threshold limit and they have not taken registration. So they have to take registration and pay it. Okay. Then any central government, state government, union territory, local authority or government authority is exempted. Then to any other person means who's not registered as an individual. An individual goes to a lawyer and asks for his personal cases like his property case or his matrimony case. He's not registered, so that will be exempted. Similarly, a senior advocate providing to individual and all is exempted, but if he's providing to another advocate, then it will be taxable. It will be under forward charge, not under reverse charge. So this two case will be under forward charge. When a senior advocate is providing to another advocate to another senior advocate, it will be taxable. But if arbitral tribunal provides to similarly, arbitral tribunal provides to an individual advocate or a senior advocate, it will be taxable. To everybody else, it is exempted. And to business entities who have crossed the threshold limit, it will be under reverse charge. In all other cases, it is exempted. Clear? Legal service is very clear. So it is under reverse charge. We know it is under reverse charge. It is reverse charge for whom? To a person who is receiving and his limit is crossing the threshold limit. If he's crossed the threshold limit and if he's getting anything, then it is taxable under reverse charge. In all other cases, it is exempted. Right? Most of the cases it is exempted, but when a senior advocate provides to another advocate, then it is taxable. Or a arbitral tribunal provides to another lawyer, it is taxable. But a lawyer providing to another lawyer is exempted. Okay. If I am an individual, if an individual is providing building for rent for dwelling purposes, the rent charge is exempted. Yes. An individual providing rent for residential dwelling, or a company also providing to a residential dwelling, anything, any residential unit provide for residential purpose is exempted. Okay. What is arbitral tribunal? We saw no in the reverse charge. Arbitral tribunal means a party which is a arbitral tribunal which is set up to resolve any dispute between two parties outside the court. Okay. लीगल सर्विसेज को हिंदी में क्या बताओगे? लीगल सर्विस को हम वकील का सर्विस बताएंगे. जो भी वकील है, वकील के सर्विसेज जो है उसे लीगल सर्विस कहते हैं. तो अब अगर एक सीनियर एडवोकेट का ऑप्शन होता है और एक जूनियर एडवोकेट, मतलब कुछ साल होने के बाद उनको कोर्ट से बोलते हैं कि वो सीनियर एडवोकेट है, राइट? और बेस्ड ऑन एक्सपीरियंस एंड अदर थिंग्स उनको सीनियर एडवोकेट कहा जाता है. जब एक लॉयर दूसरे लॉयर को, नॉर्मल लॉयर को सर्विस प्रोवाइड करता है या सीनियर लॉयर को भी, एडवोकेट को भी सर्विस प्रोवाइड करता है, तो वो एग्जेम्प्ट होता है. ठीक है. लेकिन अगर सीनियर एडवोकेट दूसरे एडवोकेट को प्रोवाइड करता है तब इसको टैक्स पे करना पड़ेगा. वैसे ही आर्बिट्रल ट्राइब्यूनल को भी टैक्स करना पड़ेगा. सो दिस, ये सिर्फ जानने की जरूरी है क्योंकि ये इंपॉर्टेंट रह जाता है. उसके अलावा ये तीनों एडवोकेट्स अगर किसी बिजनेस एंटिटी को सर्विस प्रोवाइड करते हैं जिनका लिमिट कम है, थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट, टैक्सेबल लिमिट से कम है, रजिस्ट्रेशन के लिमिट से कम है, ठीक है, तो उनको एग्जेम्प्ट हो जाएगा, उनको पे करने की जरूरत नहीं है. लेकिन जो बिजनेस एंटिटी को सर्विस प्रोवाइड करते हैं वो बिजनेस एंटिटी थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट से ज्यादा है या रजिस्टर्ड भी है, तो फिर उनको रिवर्स चार्ज में पे करना पड़ेगा। और गवर्नमेंट को सर्विस प्रोवाइड करेंगे तो तीनों केसेस में एग्जेम्प्ट है, और इंडिविजुअल्स को प्रोवाइड करते हैं तब भी एग्जेम्प्टेड है। ठीक है। Advocate means a normal advocate. A senior advocate means an advocate who is considered as a senior advocate and appointed as such by the high courts. And senior advocates generally don't work directly with the clients. They work with another advocates, and all representation as happening with the client by the junior advocate. Okay. What is the threshold limit for gross receipts mentioned in the chart? Threshold limit for gross receipt is the registration limit. I've not mentioned the amount because for each state it is different. And if you're a service provider, it is 20 lakhs. For a provider of goods, it is 40 lakhs. So for based on what services you provide or what business you are in, that will be decided. So if you're a provider of service, your limit is 40 lakhs. Up to 40 lakhs, you don't have to pay RCM. Okay. Okay. Now we'll get to the next exemption. Next exemption is banking services. Well, this exemptions till now were the major exemptions, I would say. That's why you had separate specific charts specifying what is the service and what is taxable and what is exempted. But in subsequent slides, they are only theoretical exemptions. So understanding and remembering them is more important than giving them a more of a conceptual thing. So we will try to flow into that, and we will try to understand. If there is any doubts in at any point of time, you could stop me because the flow will continue otherwise. Okay. Okay, you thought GST would be very dry, and even ever I used to take and study for self, it was sleepy. But after seeing your class, I started showing my interest in GST. Excellent, Karankarani. If you have got the interest in the subject, that's the biggest achievement I would say I have achieved now. That is really encouraging, and very thankful to you that you have get really good from the class. Please explain concept of reverse charge. Concept of reverse charge के लिए I have to go to the slide. Uh, we will break the flow. That's why I will take up this your question again at the end. So please repeat your question at the end, Anand. Otherwise, we are under exemption. So we will break the flow. I will tell you the concept of reverse charge to the chart, which I what I use for reverse charge at the end. Ask your question at the end. Okay. Legal services till now, whatever exemptions we have studied, it is clear, right? No doubts in that. Now we'll go to banking services. Services by the RBI. RBI provides some services, and if they collect any consideration, then all of that is exempted. Like what consideration they can collect? Approval services. Like some kind of approval is required, some kind of licensing is required. If you get foreign funds into India, you have to go to RBI for approval sometimes, and they will collect some charges, late fee, LSF or late collection fees. Any of these collections when they make on that, GST is not required, neither on the forward charge nor under reverse charge. So services by the RBI is exempted. RBI also provides services to collects consideration from the other banks for whatever regulatory work it does. That is also exempted. Then services by way of extending deposits, loans, or advances in so far as the consideration is represented by way of interest or discount. Okay, I have amount I've given as a loan to my friend. Now, what will my friend give me? ठेंगा, फ्रेंड को रुपए देंगे तो फिर आएगा ही नहीं। तो डोंट मिक्स योर फ्रेंडशिप विद फाइनेंशियल ट्रांजैक्शन, don't break your friendship because of financial transactions. Keep financial transactions and friendship apart. Give loan to non-friends itself so that your friendship is continued and your money transactions is continued. Yeah, that was on a side note. But the main point here is, if I give a loan to somebody and that person gives me interest, ठीक है, इंटरेस्ट इज व्हाट, बेसिकली मनी, एक्सचेंज ऑफ मनी। आपने 1 लाख रुपए दिए, उसने 1 लाख को बढ़ा के 1,05,000 रुपए दिया ब्याज मिला के। तो ये जो 5,000 रुपए है उसको सर्विस बोल सकते हो आप, ठीक है, क्योंकि मैंने तो 1 लाख दिया, एक्सचेंज ऑफ मनी तो एग्जेम्प्टेड है। मैंने 1 लाख दिया, 1 लाख रुपए वापस दिए, तो 1 लाख रुपए एग्जेम्प्टेड है। तो जो एक्स्ट्रा 5,000 हुआ है वो दैट इज बिकम्स अ सर्विस। व्हाट सर्विस यू हैव डन, आपने उसको जरूरत के टाइम पे रुपए दिए एंड यू हैव एक्सटेंडेड दिस क्रेडिट फैसिलिटी, तो इसके लिए इट बिकम्स अ सर्विस। बट देर इज अ एग्जेम्पशन नोटिफिकेशन में ही लिखा है कि एक्सटेंडिंग ऑफ डिपॉजिट लोन्स एंड सो फार, extending deposit loans or advances in so far as the consideration is represented by way of interest or discount is exempted. ठीक है, तो 1,05,000 जो आया, 5,000 इंटरेस्ट इनकम है, दिस इंटरेस्ट इनकम इज इन देयर इन माय प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट, ये 5,000 रुपीज ऑफ इंटरेस्ट इज एग्जेम्प्टेड। ठीक है, नाउ इट सेज विद इन ब्रैकेट्स अदर देन इंटरेस्ट इन्वॉल्व इन क्रेडिट कार्ड सर्विसेज। क्यों? क्योंकि क्रेडिट कार्ड सर्विस के लिए तो उनका सर्विस ही है दैट दे विल गिव कि आप स्वाइप करो भैया, जहां पे भी जाना है स्वाइप करो, और मुझे जब पीरियोडिक पेमेंट्स होता है तब पेमेंट करो, मेक द पेमेंट ऑन द बिलिंग साइकिल। इफ यू डिले दिस देन आई विल चार्ज यू इंटरेस्ट। So any kind of interest charged by the credit card company is taxable. Other than credit card company, when you will get charged when you're taking loan from a bank, overdraft account, term deposit, term account, term loan, उनके ऊपर जो भी इंटरेस्ट है दैट इज एग्जेम्प्टेड, बट इंटरेस्ट कलेक्टेड बाय द क्रेडिट कार्ड सर्विसेज इज टैक्सेबल। क्योंकि क्रेडिट कार्ड का मेन ही वो है कि दे गिव क्रेडिट, और इफ दे डू एनी लेट थिंग, लेट चार्जेस भी कलेक्ट करेंगे, उसके ऊपर भी जीएसटी है, और इंटरेस्ट ऑल्सो देयर ऑल्सो इट विल बी लेविड जीएसटी। देन सेकेंड पॉइंट, inter se sale or purchase of foreign currency amongst banks or authorized dealers of foreign exchange or amongst banks and such dealers. फॉरेन जाना है, आपको फॉरेन एक्सचेंज लेना है, किससे लेंगे? यू कैन गो विथ एनी फॉरेन एक्सचेंज डीलर, ओके, और इज जनरली फॉरेन एक्सचेंज इज डन बाय ऑथराइज्ड डीलर्स। तो ऑथराइज्ड डीलर्स के पास जाओगे या बैंक्स के पास जाओगे? नाउ दिस बैंक डज करेंसी एक्सचेंज एंड कलेक्ट सम चार्जेस फ्रॉम यू, क्योंकि करेक्शन करेंसी पे कमाएंगे। ठीक है, अगर 70 रुपीज है तो वो 70 रुपीज 10 पैसा कलेक्ट करेंगे, दैट इज वन कंसिडरेशन। अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट दे विल कलेक्ट सम काइंड ऑफ अ फॉरेन एक्सचेंज चार्जेस, जैसे रेट है, रेट के ऊपर भी चार्जेस कलेक्ट करते हैं या फिर कोई अलग से भी चार्जेस कलेक्ट करता है। सो इफ द रेट इज 70 रुपीज एंड दे आर कलेक्टिंग 70 रुपीज 20 पैसा, तो जो 20 पैसा पर डॉलर है, पर करेंसी है, दैट इज देयर कमीशन अमाउंट, दैट इज टैक्सेबल। तो सर यहाँ पे एग्जेम्प्टेड क्या लिखा है आपने? यहाँ पे एग्जेम्प्टेड ये लिखा है कि इंटर से सेल और परचेज ऑफ फॉरेन करेंसी अमंगस्ट बैंक्स और ऑथराइज्ड डीलर्स, एक बैंक से दूसरे बैंक के लिए या एक बैंक से ऑथराइज्ड डीलर के लिए, ऑथराइज्ड डीलर से बैंक के लिए, जब इनके बीच में इंटरनल कन्वर्जन होता है तब दैट एक्स्ट्रा ट्रांजैक्शन व्हाट दे कलेक्ट, ठीक है, दैट इज एग्जेम्प्टेड। क्यों? बिकॉज विद इन दैट सिस्टम दे वांट टू एग्जेम्प्टेड। जैसे 70 रुपीज का डॉलर का रेट है, मुझे 70 रुपीज 20 पैसे में ऑथराइज डीलर ने बेच दिया है, अब उसके पास करेंसीज नहीं है, उसने बैंक से लिया है। बैंक से वो कितने में लेगा? बैंक फ्री में दे देगा 70 रुपए में? नहीं, बैंक देगा 70.10 पैसा। ठीक है, तो 70.10 मतलब 70 का रेट था, इसने 0.10 लिया, बैंक जो एक्स्ट्रा 10 रुपीज लेला ऑथराइज डीलर से, दैट इज एग्जेम्प्टेड। और ये ऑथराइज डीलर मुझसे 20 पैसा एक्स्ट्रा ले रहा है, दैट विल बी टैक्सेबल। ठीक है, तो अंडरस्टैंड द साइकिल, टैक्सेबल, नॉट टैक्सेबल, व्हाट इज टैक्सेबल इज वन विथ अ बैंक और ऑथराइज्ड डीलर, विथ द आउटसाइडर इज टैक्सेबल, विद इन द सर्कल इज एग्जेम्प्टेड। ठीक है, प्रैक्टिकल प्रॉब्लम्स कन्हैया सिंह जी, मैंने दो प्रैक्टिकल प्रॉब्लम्स रखे हैं. जब हम प्रोविजन एग्जाम्पशन कवर कर लेंगे देन आई विल टेक इट अप. करेक्ट. रिमेंबर द प्रोविजंस के लिए बहुत सारे प्रैक्टिकल करने पड़ेंगे. दिस क्लासेस आर नॉट लाइक, आई वुड फ्रैंकली टेल यू, आप सिर्फ इस क्लासेस पे 100% डिपेंड मत रहना. वॉट वी आर डूइंग इज ओनली 40%. 60% आपको अप्लाई करके समझना पड़ेगा. बिकॉज जस्ट आर थिंग्स विल ओनली गिव यू अ गाइडेंस. दिस विल बी अ ट्रिगर पॉइंट फॉर यू टू कंटिन्यू योर स्टडीज. हमारे explanation are only helping you. We are only giving a helping hand to you to start your studies. ताकि you don't get stuck anywhere. You have to use this and do lot of working out of the problems, lot of writing, lot of reading. Only then what we say will be successful for you. Otherwise, our just lectures will not be helpful for you, because lectures may we can do only one way of teaching. It is for you to apply. When you apply these things, and if you have any doubts, then you go back to these notes. It might be more helpful. So you, it's only 40% what we are doing. 60% is in your hands. Okay. So all other banks which are regulated by RBI providing the same service mentioned in case of RBI, are they exempt too? All other banks, if they are providing interest, mostly they will provide you saying that if you deposit money in your savings bank account, they will give you interest. Okay. Or if you're taking any loan, you are only paying anything, right? Whatever other services you're doing, if it is in the nature of interest, it will be exempted. Apart from that, like banks collect other charges, like if you have a demand draft to take, इंस्टीट्यूट में पेमेंट करना पड़ता है डिमांड ड्राफ्ट कभी कभी, तो डिमांड ड्राफ्ट के लिए तो एक्स्ट्रा चार्जेस दे कलेक्ट, दैट इज टैक्सेबल. Then on foreign exchange transactions, they will collect some charges, bank charges, that is all taxable. Okay, बैंक यू गो मंथली क्वार्टरली एसएमएस आ जाता है आपको, एसएमएस चार्जेस, क्रेडिट कार्ड यूसेज चार्जेस, डेबिट कार्ड यूसेज चार्जेस, एनुअल चार्जेस, all of that is taxable, not exempted, because these are provided by banks, not by the RBI. Okay, even though it is regulated by RBI, but they are not RBI. No, they are banks ultimately. We could be nationalized bank or not nationalized bank. All of them are taxable. Interest on bonds and money market instruments, any kind of interest is exempted. Bonds and money market also are the kinds of instruments to extend deposits, loans or advances. ठीक है, उसमें भी क्या होता है, डिपॉजिट्स ही लेते हैं वो और उसके अगेंस्ट आपको इंटरेस्ट देते हैं. सो इंटरेस्ट ऑन बॉन्ड्स एंड मनी मार्केट इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स आर आल्सो exempted. I have one question, sir. Companies are accepting deposits from members or public, then who is taxable? Accepting deposits is not taxable, dear. It is exempted. Because deposit is taking deposits and giving it back. Fine. So company or public, none of them is taxable. When they take deposits and give back interest, that is also exempted, because interest we are seeing now is exempted. Okay. Moreover, issue of shares and debenture transactions are taxable. Issue of securities are exempted. हमने 7 में पढ़ लिया कनकरनी, that 7 में issue of shares and securities are all out of the scope of GST. Who is an authorized dealer? The RBI appoints a person who will be an authorized dealer. For foreign exchange, everybody cannot do. So these dealers are authorized dealers only, and there are few dealers who are not authorized, they still do it. They are not authorized dealers. These authorized dealers who are authorized by the RBI for to do foreign exchange transactions, they are called as authorized dealers. Charges on breaking term deposit, yes. So there are two things. One is they reduce your interest, then no charges because interest के ऊपर exempted है. One is they levy some kind of a charge saying that breaking of term deposits, then that's a charge that is taxable. Service provided by a banking company to basic savings bank deposit account holders under प्रधान मंत्री जन धन योजना. मतलब वो जो क्वार्टरली चार्जेस है, एसएमएस चार्जेस है, डेबिट कार्ड चार्जेस है, आपके सेविंग्स अकाउंट में मेरे सेविंग्स अकाउंट में है, तो 10 रुपीज की जगह वो क्या लगाएंगे, 11.8 रुपीज, बिकॉज 10 के ऊपर 1.8 रुपीज जीएसटी लगाते हैं. बट अगर इफ आई ओपन अंडर दिस प्रधानमंत्री जनधन योजना, देन एसएमएस चार्जेस 10 का 10 ही लगाना है उनको, जीएसटी नहीं लगाना है, बिकॉज दैट इज एग्जेम्प्टेड. ओनली पी प्रधानमंत्री जनधन योजना के ट्रांजैक्शंस पे एग्जेम्पशन मिलेगा. ओनली इंटरेस्ट ऑन लोन इज एग्जेम्प्टेड, अनदर ऑल सर्विस आर टैक्सेबल। और क्या हो सकता है लोन के अलावा? आप लोन लोगे, आपको इंटरेस्ट ही चार्ज करेंगे, और लोन रीपे लेट कर रहे हो तो लेट फाइलिंग फीस, लेट फीस चार्ज करते हैं, तो लेट फीस टैक्सेबल रहेगा, वरना इंटरेस्ट तो एग्जेम्प्टेड है। डिविडेंड इज ऑल्सो एग्जेम्प्ट, यस। डिविडेंड इज नॉट अ goods or a service, it is return on your investment। ठीक है, तो it is like I have invested and you're getting returns by the company, so dividend is outside the scope, इसलिए उसके लिए अलग से exemption में भी नहीं दिया है। डिविडेंड इज अप्रोप्रिएशन ऑफ प्रॉफिट। अगर कंपनी प्रॉफिट करेगा तब वो प्रॉफिट डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करेगा, सो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ प्रॉफिट इज नॉट लायबल टू जीएसटी। ठीक है, वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन ज्योतिजा। डिविडेंड इज आउटसाइड द स्कोप ऑफ जीएसटी इटसेल्फ, तो इसलिए एग्जेम्पशन में भी इंक्लूड नहीं किया। एग्जेम्पशन में क्या इंक्लूड होगा? जब टैक्सेबल रहेगा तभी इंक्लूड रहेगा, ये टैक्सेबल ही नहीं है तो एग्जेम्पशन में इंक्लूड करने की भी जरूरत नहीं है। ओके, अंडरराइटर्स चार्जिंग अंडरराइटिंग कमीशन, इज इट एग्जाम? नहीं, अंडरराइटर्स जो चार्ज करते हैं अंडरराइटिंग कमीशन, इट इज टैक्सेबल। लोन प्रोसेसिंग फीस टैक्सेबल, लोन प्रोसेसिंग चार्जेस टैक्सेबल। ठीक है, now we covered banking services as a sector. Now we'll get into life insurance business. Services of life insurance business provided by way of annuity under the National Pension Scheme regulated by the PFRDAI, मतलब Pension Fund Regulatory Authority Development of India and Pension Fund Regulatory Development Authority Act। ठीक है, लाइफ इंश्योरेंस सर्विस इज टैक्सेबल। अगर मैं लाइफ इंश्योरेंस जाऊंगा, प्रीमियम पे करूंगा, तब आप देखोगे प्रीमियम रिसिप्ट में अलॉन्ग विद प्रीमियम देयर इज जीएसटी ऑल्सो कलेक्टेड। बट सर्विस ऑफ लाइफ इंश्योरेंस बिजनेस प्रोवाइडेड बाय ऑफ एन्युटी अंडर द नेशनल पेंशन स्कीम, एनपीएस स्कीम के अंदर जो रेगुलेटेड है, दैट इज एग्जेम्प्टेड। देन सर्विस ऑफ लाइफ इंश्योरेंस बिजनेस प्रोवाइडर अग्री टू बी प्रोवाइड बाय द आर्मी, नेवी एंड एयरफोर्स ग्रुप इंश्योरेंस इज एग्जेम्प्टेड। ठीक है, तो क्या क्या पॉइंट्स है यहाँ पे? फर्स्ट इज नेशनल पेंशन स्कीम, सेकेंड इज बाय द आर्मी, नेवी, आर्मी, नेवी और एयरफोर्स ग्रुप इंश्योरेंस। ठीक है, आर्मी, नेवी और एयरफोर्स ग्रुप इंश्योरेंस इज एग्जेम्प्टेड। सर्विसेज ऑफ लाइफ इंश्योरेंस प्रोवाइडर अग्री टू बी प्रोवाइड बाय द नेवल ग्रुप इंश्योरेंस फंड। ठीक है, जो भी मिलिट्री के फंड्स है, डिफेंस के फंड्स है, दैट इज ऑल एग्जेम्प्टेड। क्लियर, याद रखने के लिए, क्योंकि प्रधानमंत्री का इंश्योरेंस स्कीम है, प्रधानमंत्री का बैंकिंग सर्विस है, वो एग्जेम्प्टेड रहेगा। नेशनल पेंशन स्कीम एग्जेम्प्ट रहेगा, आर्मी, नेवी और एयरफोर्स का स्कीम एग्जेम्प्ट रहेगा, नेवल ग्रुप इंश्योरेंस फंड एग्जेम्प्ट रहेगा। सर्विस ऑफ लाइफ इंश्योरेंस प्रोवाइडर अग्रीड बाय द सेंट्रल आर्म्ड पुलिस फोर्सेस, सेंट्रल आर्म्ड पुलिस फोर्सेस इज एग्जेम्प्टेड। ठीक है, मिलिट्री, आर्मी, सेंट्रल आर्म्ड पुलिस फोर्सेस, नेशनल पेंशन फंड्स एग्जेम्प्टेड है। फिर ऑल दिस गवर्नमेंट सर्विसेज, सर्विस ऑफ लाइफ इंश्योरेंस प्रोवाइडर अंडर द जनश्री बीमा योजना, आम आदमी बीमा योजना, लाइफ माइक्रो प्रोडक्ट, वरिष्ठ पेंशन बीमा योजना, प्रधानमंत्री जीवन ज्योति बीमा योजना, मतलब जो भी प्रधानमंत्री के स्कीम्स है, ऑल ऑफ दैट इज एग्जेम्प्टेड। ठीक है, प्रधानमंत्री जन धन योजना, प्रधानमंत्री वय व्यंजन योजना, प्रधानमंत्री जीवन ज्योति बीमा योजना, वरिष्ठ बीमा योजना, इतना कैसे याद रखेंगे? सभी जो भी है गवर्नमेंट के स्कीम्स, मोरलेस आई वुड से इट इज एग्जेम्प्टेड। ठीक है, प्रधानमंत्री जन धन योजना, लाइक जीरो बैलेंस अकाउंट, करेक्ट, वही है प्रधानमंत्री जन धन योजना। ठीक है, दीज आर द insurance schemes which are exempted. Now what we are covering till here is life insurance services. ठीक है, now we'll go get into general insurance services. Services of general insurance business provided under the following schemes, which is hut insurance, cattle insurance under the Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarozgar Yojana, insurance for tribals, Janta personal accident policy and Grameen accident policy, group personal accident policy for self-employed women, agricultural pump set and failed well insurance, प्रीमियम कलेक्टेड ऑन एक्सपोर्ट क्रेडिट इंश्योरेंस, ठीक है, restructured weather based crop insurance, all of this is exempted. मेडिक्लेम प्रीमियम जो हम पे करते हैं वो टैक्सेबल रहेगा, वो एग्जेम्प्टेड नहीं रहेगा, क्योंकि जनरली अंडरस्टैंड मेडिक्लेम इज ऑल ओवर इंडिया, आप उसको एग्जेम्प्टेड नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि इतना वैल्यूड है, ठीक है। मेडिकल हमने देखा है कि हेल्थ केयर सर्विसेज एग्जेम्प्टेड है, लेकिन मेडिक्लेम इज टैक्सेबल, तो मेडिक्लेम इज टैक्सेबल, लेकिन इफ इट इज रन अंडर एनी ऑफ दीज गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स देन इट विल बी एग्जेम्प्टेड। बट जनरल मेडिक्लेम जब आप LIC से लेते हो, इवन दो LIC इतनी बड़ी कंपनी है, गवर्नमेंट कंपनी है, बट स्टिल इट इज टैक्सेबल, ठीक है। ऑल काइंड एंड अदर प्राइवेट इंश्योरेंस कंपनी से भी जब लेते हो दैट इज ऑल टैक्सेबल. If an army official takes an individual life insurance, very good question, then it will be taxable, because if he's taking under these schemes only, then it will be exempted. Services by LIC taxable? Yes, very much taxable. Then other general insurance business which are exempted is services of general insurance business provided under the Jan Arogya Bima Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, pilot scheme on seed crop insurance, central sector scheme on cattle insurance, universal health insurance scheme, Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana, coconut palm insurance scheme, Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana, Nirmaya health insurance scheme, then Bangla Sashya Bima. तो इसमें क्या है एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए, ये तो सब याद रखने वाली बातें हैं। आई मैं और क्या कर सकता हूं इसमें, दीज आर ऑल द स्कीम्स विच वी विल हैव टू रिमेंबर। So these are the insurance and general insurance which were exempted. Now, services specified provided by specified bodies. Now, these services provided by specified bodies will be exempted. Okay. State insurance policies which are run by state government, yes, they are also exempted. So those life insurance schemes are the schemes provided by the concerned armed forces insurance companies or is by the LIC. It is generally the scheme is the armed forces scheme, but backing will be done by the LIC. So it will not be done by the armed forces. The backing, or they will take the group insurance from the LIC. It will be grouped or sponsored by the government or by the defense ministry. That's why they are exempted. Okay. Now services specified by provided by specified bodies like the SEBI. Securities Exchange Board of India, whatever service they provide is exempted. Coal Mines Provident Fund Act, that is exempted. Employees State Insurance, Employees Provident Fund Organization, National Pension Scheme, and IRDAI. Why I put all of this is one slide is these are all specified bodies like SEBI ho gaya, RBI we already know is exempted, IRDAI, because these units provide these organizations provide to the subcategories. Like IRDI provides services to all the insurance companies. Like they will collect data and provide it, and these insurance companies may have to pay annual charges. Those annual charges are exempted, is what is being saying here. Okay. ESI, EPFO, like Employees Provident Fund Organization, they collect charges. Right. Apart from that, they collect administrative charges and miscellaneous charges. So that also is exempted. Like EPFO, what they do is they collect money from the employees for pension, deposit in a fund, and give it back. That is fine. That is exempted itself because it's a transaction in money. But apart from that, they collect some charges in terms of uh, all kinds of admin charges or miscellaneous charges, and they do it. That is all exempted. Services by competition, CCI is not specified, so that will be taxable. Competition Commission of India, taxable. Other exempt services, services by way of transfer of a going concern as a whole or an independent part thereof. This is important. Services by way of transfer of a going concern as a whole or an independent part thereof. I am having a business. I'm selling my whole business. So will you say GST is leviable on whole business? Is it goods? Is it services? To avoid that all the confusion, they've said we'll give exemption to the transfer of whole business. But before transferring my business, whatever goods is there, I want to sell it. So is it called as on that goods no tax? No, no. You are selling those goods, then it is taxable. But if you are transferring a whole business, transfer as a going concern, stress is on the definition of going concern. Okay, if it is a service by way of transfer of a going concern, matlab running organization hai. So it's a going concern. So transfer of a going concern as a whole is exempted. But अगर आप business को अलग अलग करके पहले assets दे देते हो, then stock बेच देते हो, then you cannot sell. It's a going concern because you're selling the individual items. You're selling the individual goods. So that is taxable. But if you're selling the whole business, assets with liabilities, right? Whole business, merger, demerger, in those cases, it is exempted. So service by way of transfer of a going concern as a whole or an independent part, matlab independent units. Jaise I have 10 divisions. One division if I'm selling, then it is exempted, not otherwise. So you can sell the whole unit, whole business, or part of the business. Then it is exempted. Very important. Services provided by and to FIFA and its subsidiaries directly or indirectly related to any of the events under FIFA Under 19 World Cup. So Under 19 World Cup जब था तब उसको encourage करने के लिए that said that FIFA Under 17 World Cup को भी exemption मिलेगा. So any services provided to मतलब उनका cost कम करने के लिए services provided to any of the events under FIFA was exempted and services provided by FIFA also was exempted. Then supply of service associated with transit cargo to Nepal and Bhutan. What is transit cargo? मतलब goods यहाँ पे आया, यहाँ पे consume नहीं किया, यहाँ पे import नहीं किया, यहाँ पे आके यहाँ से बेच दिया. So it's a transit cargo. So any kind of transit cargo to Nepal and Bhutan is exempted. Then service by way of renting of residential dwelling for use as a residence. अगर मैं residential unit को residence के लिए यूज करने के लिए देता हूं आपकी घर के किराए पे ऑन माय हाउस रेसिडेंशियल हाउस no GST charge because it is used for residential purpose. Then satellite launch services supplied by the ISRO, Antrix Corporation or New Space India Limited. So any kind of the space work done by the ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, Antrix Corporation or New Space India is exempted. What is exempted? Satellite launch service. Now, if they are providing any training service, Are they providing any kind of a, because ISRO you might call, you send your students, like some colleges send some students to ISRO for training and ISRO collects some charges. That will all be taxable. What is exempted? Only satellite launch service is exempted. Okay. Government insurance scheme is exempted. Yes, government insurance scheme is exempted, but LIC is not government. LIC is a government company. It's become a government because it used to enjoy the monopoly. But LIC is not a government company. Please mind it. LIC is not a government company. It is backed by government. That's all. But it's a government, not, it's a corporation, life insurance corporation, but not a government company. Okay. But if a whole business which is transferred is exempt, then will the ITC of assets wholly transferred will be available? Yes, good question. Uh, I would appreciate Ramchandra for asking these technical questions without getting into ITC. But yes, I agree. I really appreciate that you're asking full-fledged questions. Yes, when the business is transferred, then the ITC also gets transferred. So we have a mechanism under ITC that if a business is transferred, then the ITC also gets transferred. Acquisition is also exempted. Yes, even acquisition, what happens? The whole business you're acquiring. So from the other company's perspective, they're selling the whole business. That is also exempted. What is cargo service? Cargo service means जब आप import करते हो, जब goods वहां पे रहता है, right? The clearance of these goods is called as cargo. Okay. Under 19 cricket World Cup also exempted. Under 19 cricket World Cup तो उन्होंने नहीं दिया भैया. They have not given it. Any more doubts? Are the suppliers to ISRO exempted? Nahi. Only ISRO services exempted. Supplier to ISRO will be taxable. Sir, if some services are goods taxable under income tax, then GST will be leviable or not? See, GST and income tax are very two different tax. Like on residential dwelling, what you have discussed, GST is not there. But income tax is there, no? Income from house property. Similarly, some exemptions will be there under income tax, but it will be taxable under GST. So exemption under income tax and exemption under GST are two separate things. Cannot mix both. Okay. So if it is exempted there, it should be exempted here also. No compulsion. It may be exempted there. It will be taxable here. What is taxable or exemption under this GST? You'll have to see under this act, not under the income tax act. Okay. Okay. So that covers the exemption. Now we will take up the updates which are relevant and the other questions, and we'll take some practical questions. Okay. We'll take a break of 10 minutes. Please post all your questions in respect of GST. We'll answer your questions and then move on. So break for 10 minutes. Okay, welcome back. Uh, okay, this question is answered. Do taxes levied on interest payment? Okay, that's an income tax question. What are the main categories levied by government? Income tax, capital gain tax, GST will be, which will be sales tax. Is VAT no longer levied under GST? Yes, VAT is no longer there. Once it is the replacement of VAT, which is there now as GST. So just a general question, the ropeway services which are available in tourist places like Haridwar, Shimla, Nainital, both by government and board bodies, the ticket charges collected are they exempted? I don't see there is a specific exemption for them. So it will be taxable, like ropeway charges and all. They have not considered as under the exemption. So that will be taxable itself. Now, why they are not collecting GST could be various issues, but it is not a exempt service. Okay. We covered all the exemption. Now, what is the statutory updates? Amendment of the existing entry. Earlier, it was there that services provided to the central government, state government, union territory under any training program for which 75%, earlier it was training program for which total expenditure is borne by central government. Now, what is in the bracket is the amendment. Now they've said that any training program for which 75%, at least 70% if they give, then also it is exempted. Earlier it was nothing was percentage was mentioned. It means 100% was to be provided by the central government. Only then they would have been exempted. But now, if government is providing 75% of the expenditure, even then it becomes exempted. Then there is a new entry which says service by way of granting national permit to a goods carriage to operate throughout India is exempted. Like national permit they'll give, no? The government RTO will correct permit charges. We have discussed this just to bring it here. Services provided for providing permit charges. Okay, to give national permit, RTO will collect the charges. That is exempted. Then withdrawal of entry means this entry was there under exemption. Now it is not there, which is service of leasing of assets like rolling stock assets, including wagons, coaches, locos by the Indian Railways Finance Corporation to Indian Railways. Okay, so leasing of assets, which was charged by the Indian Railways Finance Corporation to Indian Railways, was exempted. Now it has become taxable. Okay, apart from that, let us understand what are the exemptions given in the study material also in your supplementary material. Okay. Yeah. This is the supplementary material. Is it clear for you? Yeah. Is my screen on supplementary material clear? Is it visible? Any student, anyone can please respond. Yes. Okay. So amendments in services exempted under GST. There was an amendment in the exemption notification. Pure services, what we had discussed, services to government, right? It's a recapitulation of whatever of all the exemptions amendments. Pure services provided to central government, state government, local authority. Earlier, government authority and government entity also was exempted, but with effective from 1st January 2022, when these pure services are provided to government authority or a government entity, it will be taxable. Okay, so pure services provided by to the central government, state government, or a union territory or a local authority is exempted, but to government authority and government entity will be taxable. Similarly, we said that composition supply of goods or services in which value of supply of goods constitutes up to 25% is also exempted if it is provided to the government. That continues if it is provided to central government, state government, union territory, or local authority. But if it is provided to government authority or government entity, that will be taxable. So services, pure services are composition services with 25% of goods provided to government authority and government entity is taxable from 1st January 2022. Then transportation of passengers with or without accompanied belongings by air. Okay, transportation of passengers by air embarking from or terminating in an airport located in the state of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, or Tripura or Bagdogra located in West Bengal. So all of this batments transportation of passengers with or without accompanied by air, non-air conditions contract carriage and state carriage, this is exempted. Okay, air was already exempted. Now non-air conditioned contract carriage other than radio taxi and state carriage, matlab all those buses which ply to these places also will be exempted. However, nothing contained in B and C shall apply to services supplied through e-commerce. Okay. So earlier it was only air embarking. Now non-air conditioned conduct for transportation of passengers is exempted. Then stage carriage other than air conditioned carriage is also exempted. But if they're operating through an e-commerce company, like earlier also these exemptions were there. What is the change now is the highlighted portion. What is the highlighted portion saying? That if they are operating or if only for B and C, for Batmans, it remains same. But for non-air conditioned contract carriage or a stage carriage, if they are supplied through an e-commerce operator, then it will be taxable from 1st January 2022. Okay, it was exempted, but from 1st January 2022, it will be taxable when only if you're booking through a e-commerce operator. मतलब आप जो बस का टिकट बुकिंग करते हो या कुछ भी एक स्टेट से दूसरे स्टेट के लिए जो नॉन एयर कंडीशन का एग्जामेशन था, उसको आप अगर एक ई कॉमर्स कंपनी के थ्रू मेक माई ट्रिप या रेड बस उससे आप बुकिंग करते हो, तब आपको टैक्स जीएसटी लगेगा. ठीक है, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग. बाकी सब सेम है. In other words, in case where service of transportation of passengers by non-air conditioned contract carriage other than radio taxi तो anyways taxable ही था पहले भी, excluding tourism, conducted tour, charter or hire by a non-air conditional carriage. हम जैसे भी बोलते थे कि non-air conditioned carriage will be exempted, अभी taxable होगा if it is supplied through e-commerce company. ठीक है. Then service of transportation of passenger with or without belongings by railways, जो एग्जामेशन था अदर देन फर्स्ट क्लास, मेट्रो, मोनोरेल्स, पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट, मीटर्ड कैब्स, अगर वो भी आप ई कॉमर्स से करते हो तो टैक्सेबल हो जाएगा. मतलब ऑटो रिक्शा भी अगर आप ई कॉमर्स कंपनी से करते हो तो टैक्सेबल रहेगा, क्योंकि इन सब का टैक्स कौन भर रहा है अभी? ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ दीज ट्रांसपोर्टर्स, ई कॉमर्स कंपनीज पेइंग. दैट्स वे उनको एग्जामेशन से हटा दिया गया है. समझे? So all of these exemptions which we have seen under transportation categories, वो exemption हट जाएंगे if you're booking through e-commerce. अगर directly book करते हो तो exemption continues. ठीक है. Services provided to central government, ये हमने देखा, training services. ठीक है. The new exemption what is introduced, national permit, which we have discussed, and leasing of assets by the Indian Railways Finance Corporation to Indian Railways is removed. ठीक है. What is pure services? Pure services we have discussed. Pure services means only service, non-involvement of goods. That is called pure service. सप्लीमेंट्री मेटल आपको आईसीआई बोर्ड ऑफ स्टडीज के वेबसाइट पे ही मिलेगा. ठीक है. So let's move with questions and solving some problems. Some more questions. The tourism conducted by Karnataka State Tourism Development Corporation, is it exempt? Conducted for tourism purposes, so it will liable for tax, right? Because for tourism purpose it was liable for tax already. So tourism purpose will be taxable only. Will statutory update come for May 23 exams? Yes, it will come. So you can see further updates apart from the supplementary updates. Okay, time for some questions. First question. If I am a trader dealing with only tax exempt supplies, dealing with दो बार आ गया है. If I am a supplier who is dealing with only exempt supplies, is it necessary to register under GST if the turnover exceeds 20 lakhs? Suppose मेरे स्टेट में लिमिट है 20 lakhs का और मैंने 20 lakhs क्रॉस कर दिया है and I'm dealing only with exempt supplies. Then should I take registration or no? Yes, sir. Then registration is required. Many are saying yes, registration will require. Few are saying not required. Let us see what is the final conclusion of this answer. The correct answer is there is no requirement of registration under GST if a person is dealing with only fully exempt supplies. मतलब whatever his supplies is fully exempted, then he does not have to take registration even if the value crosses 20 lakhs. मतलब जो सिर्फ exempt supplies provide करता है, तो he does not have to take registration at all. Okay. No registration is not required. If IGST supply is there, then it is required. No, even if IGST supply is there, even then it is not required. Kanakarini, the point of IGST comes for composition supply. Okay, don't get confused. Under composition supply, there is a restriction on IGST. If a person is doing any kind of normal registration, then even if he's doing IGST and it is exempt, then he does not have to take a registration. Registration required because there may be some liability to pay RCM. If some liability comes, then they have to take registration. Alok, we are only taking a situation where making outward supplies and fully exempt, and we are not talking about RCM. Of course, when the RCM comes, he will have to take registration. But the facts of the question is he's making only outward taxable supplies which are exempt. So registration not required. Clear, Priyanka? Both Priyankas, are you clear? Second one, amount charged for service provided by selectors to a recognized port body. Is it taxable? Question number two, what is the answer? Sir, is providing services of education on distance basis, then it will be required to take registration? No. Even on distance learning also, it is an educational service. And if it is recognized, they're providing some degree recognized by law, still it is exempted itself. Not taxable as selectors provide services to recognized port body. Okay. Yes, services provided to recognized port body is taxable. Why? It is taxable. Amount charged for services of selectors to a recognized port body is taxable. Services by recognized port body is exempted. Okay. Okay, lot of confusion here. What is the correct answer? The correct answer is service provided to a recognized sport body only by an individual as a player, referee, or umpire, or coach, or team manager is exempt. All other cases, it is taxable. Okay, first is they're providing to a recognized sport body, it is exempt. But what? Services of player, referee, umpire, coach, or team manager. Okay, but here it is case of a selector. सेलेक्टर है तो फिर एग्जेम्पशन नहीं मिलेगा. ठीक है, किस किस को एग्जेम्पशन मिलेगा? ओनली फॉर अ प्लेयर, रेफरी, अंपायर, कोच और टीम मैनेजर. ठीक है, बट इन दिस केस इट्स अ सेलेक्टर, सो इट इज टैक्सेबल. क्लियर विद दिस? ये हमने कवर नहीं किया था क्योंकि यहां पे कवर करना था, इसीलिए. ठीक है, सो नाउ यू विल रिमेंबर दिस ऑल्सो. सेलेक्टर को एग्जेम्पशन नहीं मिलेगा, प्लेयर, रेफरी, अंपायर, कोच या टीम मैनेजर को ही मिलेगा. Is service provided by way of vehicle parking to general public in a shopping mall exempted? Great. Everybody has given the correct answer. Services provided by way of vehicle parking to general public are not exempt under GST. Correct. Next, question number 4. Ram, an agriculturist, has stored sugarcane in a warehouse. He has taken fumigation services in the said warehouse from Gupta Pest Control, for which he paid the consideration of 6,000 rupees. Whether it's taxable or no. Change the slide. Oh my God. Yeah. Question number 4. Here is a question number 4. Who is a referee? Referee होता है ना अंपायर. अंपायर को भी रेफरी बोलते हैं. तो अंपायर फर्स्ट अंपायर, सेकेंड अंपायर होता है. इफ देयर इज एनी कॉन्फ्लिक्ट बिटवीन दीज अंपायर्स, देन दे रेफर टू अ रेफरी. ही इज कॉल्ड अ रेफरी. Q4. Q4 exempt, you are saying taxable. It's not taxable since it's an agricultural service. But यहाँ पे तो pest control की बात हो रही है. Sugarcane is agriculture produce. Cost of fumigation will be exempted. Okay. Let us see what is the answer. It is exempted because fumigation services in a warehouse for agriculture goods is exempted. So this is exempted. Question number 5. Purva acts as a team manager for Indian Sports Authority, a recognized sports body for a tennis tournament which is organized by a multinational company, and she received a remuneration of 2 lakhs. Is it taxable or no? The remuneration received against tennis tournament is taxable. Why? Because they've said specifically that it is conducted by a recognized sports body. So why will it be still taxable? Fumigation means fumigation we had discussed during agriculture services, providing some gases so that no insects comes and the agriculture products doesn't get spoiled. Okay, they provide some pesticides or some gases they will do in the warehouse. That is called fumigation service. Kannaya Singh, your answer is correct. Vegetables, is it exempted? Yes. Veggies, potatoes, onions, peanuts, these are all exempted. So vegetables and fruits are exempted. Okay, many are saying that this is taxable. Fifth one, but why is it is taxable? You'll have to give a reason also. If it is an MCQ, then I understand. If it's a detailed thing, then you'll have to give justification also, no? Pete Ladwala, your answer is also correct with explanation. आपको सोचना पड़ेगा. Correct. Everybody or most of you have given correct answer. The services are being provided by a team manager to a recognized sports body. But the event is not organized by a recognized sports body. It is organized by a multinational company. Hence, it is taxable. Okay, it is organized by a multinational company. Hence, it is taxable. Just a team manager is not sufficient. You have to see all conditions. Team manager, we saw in the previous thing, it was exempted. But team manager for a recognized sports conducted by a sports body, and event should be organized by the recognized sport body. Next question. So vegetables are taxable when sold in branded pack? No, it is still exempted. Now there is a change, but for your exams, it is exempted itself. Kian Enterprises and event organizers provided services to Breathing Company, Breathing Wall Limited, by way of organizing business exhibition in New Delhi as part of Make in India initiative. Kian Enterprises claims that it is not required to pay GST as the services provided by way of organizing business exhibition are exempted. So this we have not covered. The main reason for these questions is to bring up the main thing. So don't answer this. Understand the answer for yourself. What have they done? He's an event organizer. He's providing services to a private limited by way of organizing business exhibition in New Delhi as a part of Make in India, but still Make in India doesn't matter. It has been organized in India. Now they claim that they're not required to pay GST. Is it correct? Not correct, because the exemption is services provided by an organizer to any person in respect of business exhibition are exempt from GST only when the business exhibitions are held outside India. If it is held outside India, only then they can claim exemption. However, since the given case, the exhibition is being organized in India, the service of organization of the event is not exempt and it will be taxable. Okay, so If you conduct anything outside India, then it will be exempted. Nikita Sachdev, is my answer clear to you? Okay. Seventh question. ST Limited has given on hire 5 trucks to T2 Transporters of Delhi, a goods transport agency for transporting goods in central and west Delhi. The hire charges for the trucks are 7,500 rupees per truck per day. Examine whether GST is payable. In question number 7, you have to understand that who is providing a goods transport agency services? T2 transporters. Now, T2 transporters is taking on hire 5 trucks. Who's giving the trucks? ST Limited has given on hire 5 trucks to T2 transporters. Now, T2 transport is a GTA. ST Limited is not a GTA because they have not said it's a GTA. They're only into hiring of trucks. So they have hired 5 trucks to GTA for transporting goods. The hiring charges for the trucks are 7,500 per truck per day, whether GST is payable. GTA service, reverse charge, forward charge, we have seen, but we have also discussed somewhere that giving of trucks, individual trucks, is not covered under GTA, so it is exempted. GTA is not payable in case of hiring of trucks to T2 transporters. Service by way of giving on hire inter alia to a GTA, any means of transport is exempt. So आप जब GTA को any means of transport देते हो तब exempt होता है. So that's why in the seventh question it is exempted. Okay. Pranav, GTA is there. So GTA, when provide services to the ultimate customers, they will pay under reverse charge, not here. Okay. Okay. Let's get into. ओके, क्वेश्चन नंबर 7 दोबारा बताना. क्वेश्चन नंबर 7 में क्या हो रहा है? एक कंपनी है जो ट्रक्स हायर पे देती है, उनके पास खुद के ट्रक्स है, वो हायर पे देती है. किसको हायर पे देती है? एक गुड्स ट्रांसपोर्ट एजेंसी को हायर पे देती है. अब गुड्स ट्रांसपोर्ट एजेंसी उस ट्रक्स को लेके अपना जीटीए का काम करेगी. जीटीए जब सर्विस प्रोवाइड करता है तो हमको पता है कि रिवर्स चार्ज पे करना है, तो रिवर्स चार्ज पे सामने वाला पे करेगा. लेकिन यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन क्या है? जीटीए का सर्विस के ऊपर क्वेश्चन नहीं है. ये जो ट्रक, जो कंपनी हायर पे ट्रक्स दे रही है, ये हायर चार्जेस पे जीएसटी लगेगा या नहीं, ये सवाल है. तो ये जो कंपनी प्रोवाइड कर रही है हायर पे, वो एग्जेम्पशन है, एग्जेम्प्टेड है, क्योंकि एग्जेम्पशन नोटिफिकेशन एक बताता है कि सर्विसेज बाय वे ऑफ गिविंग ऑन हायर टू अ गुड्स ट्रांसपोर्ट एजेंसी, अ मीन्स ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्ट इज एग्जेम्प्टेड, तो इसीलिए एग्जेम्पशन मिलेगा वहां पे. ठीक है. 5 नवंबर के बाद जीएसटी की क्लासेस कब है? 5 नवंबर नहीं है क्लास, वैसे 3 नवंबर को है. नेक्स्ट क्लास है 10 नवंबर और 12 नवंबर को. Now let's take some MCQs. We have covered these 5 MCQs already. First, second, third, will not repeat them because इसका हमने ठीक से समझ लिया है. Okay, let's take this question. Which of the following services are exempt from GST? Conversion of paddy to rice, warehousing of rice and forest produce, Conversion of potato into potato chips, services by way of fumigation in warehouse of non-agriculture produce. Is it 1, 2, 4? Is it only 2? Is it 2, 3, 4? Or is it 1, 3, and 4? Okay, I am into in the slide. Fifth question. Yeah, this one. If GTA gives stuck to another GTA, still it will be exempted. Question number 7, is it fully exempt or is there a limit or the amount? Because mentioned in question 7,500 per truck per day. That's only to confuse you. The exemption is 100%. Any amount is exempted. The 7,500 is given to trick you. Okay, now we are able to see question number 5. What is the answer for question number 5? Fifth one answer is A, 1, 2, and 4. Okay. How 4? 4 we have just read, no? Fumigation of agriculture produce. The fourth is not the correct answer here because service by way of fumigation in a warehouse of non-agriculture produce. It's clearly mentioned of non-agriculture produce. Fumigation in a warehouse of only agriculture produce is exempted. Conversion is of foods processed. Conversion of paddy into rice. We had seen a video also. Paddy is exempted, but conversion of paddy into rice is taxable. Okay. By process of elimination, B. Yes. That is also important. Yes, the correct answer is 5B itself. Because only warehousing of rice and forest produce, this is the one which is exempted. All of this is taxable. Fine. So the correct answer is B. Question number 6. Mr. A met with an accident and was admitted to hospital. Mrs. A is staying with Mr. A in hospital to take care of him. The hospital provides. 1 minute. Yeah. Mr. A met with an accident and was admitted to hospital. Mrs. A is staying with Mr. A in hospital to take care of him. The hospital provided treatment to Mr. A and provided food facility to Mr. A. Now, Mrs. A is taking food from the canteen, which is maintained by the hospital. GST officer demands GST for the food facility provided by the hospital to Mr. A and Mrs. A by stating that it is not a healthcare service. Is this contention correct? तो 4 विकल्प आपके सामने. Yes, GST's officer contention is correct as food facility is not not related to healthcare. Food facility to provided to Mr. A is part of composite supply of healthcare and not separately taxable. Food provided to Mrs. A by hospital is liable to GST. No, food facility provided to Mr. A and Mrs. A is part of composite supply of healthcare and not separately taxable. Food facility provided to Mr. A is taxable and food facility provided to Mrs. A is exempted. क्वेश्चन भी बड़ा, आंसर भी बड़ा. Good. Most of you have given correct answer. Somebody has said C. Many are saying seeing no. Food facility provided to Mr. and Mrs. is part of composite supply of healthcare and not separately taxable. क्यों भाई? Patient is composite supply. Non-patient तो बाहर से भी खा सकता है. The treatment is given for the patient. So the correct answer is B. The food facility provided to Mr. A is part of composite supply of healthcare and not separately taxable. And food provided to Mrs. A is taxable. Okay, it becomes liable because only with a circular also which we had studied, right? So food facility provided to patients only is exempted. To outside attendees will become taxable. Okay. Question number 7. Mr. X is a business facilitator to the SBI Bank with respect to accounts in its rural branch and urban branches. Are these services exempt from GST? This we have not studied, so let's read it here. Yes, the services are exempted. No, the services are no, the services provided are actually it should be taxable. No, the service provided are taxable. Services are exempted which are related to rural branch. Services which are related to urban branch are taxable. Services are taxable which are related to rural branch, and services are exempted which are related to urban branch. The correct answer is C. So if any business facilitator provides services to the bank, then it will be exempted if the facilitated provided services in relation to rural branches. If they're providing services in relation to urban branches, it becomes taxable. Okay. Question number 8. Miss Geeta is a dancer in Bharatnatyam. She acts as a brand ambassador to a dancing institute. Is she liable to pay GST? No. Services provided by an artist is exempted. Yes, she is liable to pay GST since the consideration if the consideration exceeds 1,50,000. No, providing services as a brand ambassador is taxable under GST if consideration exceeds 1,50,000. Or yes, providing services as a brand ambassador is taxable under GST even though the amount of consideration is rupee 1. What is the correct answer for question number 8? Eight B, yes, she is liable to pay GST since the consideration if the consideration exceeds 1,50,000. That are few answers for few students, and most of the other students have given the correct answer. The answer is D, because if she's providing service as a brand ambassador, then there is no limit. Limit will be 0. So even for 1 rupee received as a brand ambassador, 1,50,000 is for performance of a dance. Here she's performing dance as a brand ambassador, so limit does not apply. Correct answer is option D. Okay. Question number 9. Miss Pavitra is a dancer performing in folk and classical art form and charged amount of rupees 1,49,999. Is she liable to pay GST? Yes. No. Performance of folk and dance and performance in folk or classical dance and consideration up to 150 is exempt. No. Falls under service definition. Does not fall under service definition. None of the above. 9, correct answer is B. Yes, correct answer is B. Performance in folk or classical dance and consideration up to 1,50,000 is exempted. The correct answer is B. Question number 10, last MCQ. Mrs. ABC is conducting a circus in Anantapur. Entrance fees is rupees 550 per person. Is this transaction liable under GST? No. Service related to admission to circus is exempted. Yes, taxable under GST because the consideration amount is more than 500. Transaction does not fall under service definition. Transaction does not fall under service definition. No service related to admission to circus is exempt under GST up to consideration of rupees 1,000. What is your answer? Anand Ubaikar, classical art and form are taxable over 1,50,000. Yes. But there it was brand ambassador question, so that was different. Here it is correct. If amount is exact 50,000, it will be taxable. Yes. Yes, it will be taxable. Answer is B. Yes, everybody is given correct answer. Taxable under GST because the consideration amount is more than rupees 500. So it is taxable. Okay. Now we've done with the MCQs and few questions. Now let me take some practical questions. Mr. Kumar, a registered supplier of Chennai, has received the following amounts in respect of activities undertaken by him during the month ended on 30th September 2020. Amount charged for service provided to recognized sports body as a selector of national team, commission received as an insurance agent from an insurance company, amount charged as business correspondent for the service provided to a urban branch of a nationalized bank with respect to savings bank accounts, service to foreign diplomatic mission located in India, 28,000 rupees, funeral services, 30,000 rupees. Now, these are the services which he's provided. He received the services from a GTA for his business activities relating to serial number 1 and 3 above and paid freight of 45,000 rupees. His aggregate turnover of previous year was 9,90,000 rupees. All the transactions stated above are interstate transactions and are also exclusive of intrastate transactions are exclusive of GST. You are required to calculate the gross value of taxable supply on which GST is to be paid by Mr. Kumar for the month of September. Working note should form part of your answer. Okay, so how will you answer this question? Okay. The approach to answer these questions is first, in your question answer paper, mention what you want to decide. Here you have to decide the gross value of taxable supply. So your heading will be gross value of taxable supply of Mr. Kumar, computation of gross value of taxable supply or gross value of taxable supply. One of this could be mentioned. Put the particulars and amounts column. Okay. And supplies on which GST is payable under forward charge, because you have two things over here. Let us keep both the screens here. Okay. So here we have the question and here we have the answer. So it becomes easy to understand this and how do we work out. So first is supplies on which GST is payable under forward charge. We'll list out one by one service. Okay. So the first service is amount charged to recognize sports body as a selector of a national team. He's charged for 50,000. Is it taxable or exempt? Selector of a national team is taxable. It will not be exempt, right? As a team coach, as a player, referee, umpire, it is exempted, but as a selector, it is taxable. Okay. Next, commission received as an insurance agent. Now, insurance agent we've seen under RCM. If an insurance agent provides services to an insurance company, it is taxable to the insurance company under reverse charge. So here he will not pay any taxes. Okay. So it is his supplies, but it is under reverse charge. So GST is not payable on this. Next, business correspondent to urban branch. Okay. This we have already seen. Business correspondent to a rural branch is exempted, but business correspondent to urban branch is taxable. Okay. Then service to a foreign diplomatic mission. Is it exempted? नहीं, कुछ exemption नहीं दिया है. It is taxable. Then funeral services is exempt under this section 12. Okay. So it is funeral services is exempt under schedule 3 itself, not only under 12. It is funeral services are exempted. So it will not come here. Funeral services are exempt. Okay. So total taxable value we have to see. Then, before seeing the total, supplies on which GST is payable under reverse charge. What has he got? He's got a goods transport agency ka services received from a GTA. Is it taxable? Yes, it is taxable. So, why it is taxable? Because he's received from a person and his aggregate turnover in the previous year was 9,90,000. That is not relevant. Okay. So, he's a registered supplier. That is relevant. We have seen, no, under GTA category, your turnover, even if it is less, but you're registered and you're taking from a GTA, then it becomes taxable. The service received from a GTA is taxable. So total value of taxable supplies on which GST is payable is 1,38,000, which is total of all of these. Okay. Clear on this? Now let me know if you have any doubts. Actually, you for entrance fees, their circus is taxable and there is no limit for the amount of entrance fees. No, for circus, there is a limit of 500 rupees. So above 500 rupees, it is taxable. Who is selector? Selector is the one who does selection of the team. He's a selector. Okay. So we'll take the second question. Okay, before that, some more questions. Where can I get more practical questions for practice? You either can see previous year questions, right? But you'll get scared because they are really tough. But to slow process it, you can take publications from outside BOS also to practice. So you read notes from here and take questions from other publications to see what is the questions, how you answer. So once you see write your answer, then you'll get to know what is your mistake, what you have done, if there is anything. If your answers are matching with the answer given by the book, then it is fine. But take up a lot of questions and practice them. Okay. If service to foreign diplomatic mission outside India, then it's an export of service, then it becomes zero rated supply. Circus, where it is mentioned, madam, in the entrance admission to event column, there it is mentioned. Water shows taxable? Yes, water shows are taxable. So one question, if he is a registered person and he has received services of unregistered GTA, will it make difference? No, it will not make a difference because GTA, whether it's registered or unregistered, doesn't matter. You are registered, so you have to pay under reverse charge. The school and colleges pay GST? No. Schools and colleges are education services, so they don't pay GST. Next question is question number 25. Yeah. Agrocare Limited registered under GST furnishes the following taxable supplies. Okay. It provides the following taxable supplies with respect to activities undertaken by them, receipt of supply for farm labor. So there are a list of services given and the amount what they charge. Now we have to compute the value of taxable supplies for the month of March. That's all. So we'll, instead of reading one by one and answering it, we'll go along with it. Computation of, first write the company's name, question number. So how do you present it? Write the question number correctly. And it is not necessary that you have to go in sequence 1, 2, 3 itself. Whichever answer you're comfortable, you can write that first, then go to the other question. Okay. Not necessary that first question has to be answered first. You can go with second or third question, which is comfortable. You're confident, write that question first and then finish that answer. Then you can go with other tougher questions. Okay. So write the question number, write the company's name and write the heading what you're doing. Here you're doing computation of value of taxable supply. Okay. So receipts from supply of farm labor. That will be my first point. Receipts of supply from farm labor is how much is the rupees? See 85,000, but I will mention nil because it is exempted. Entry number is not necessary. This is only for your reference. Okay. Then second point, charges for seed testing. Seed testing is exempted. Yes, we have seen under special services, it is exempted. Then charges for soil testing of farmland. Okay, soil testing, seed testing, all of this is exempted. Then supply of warehouse, supply for warehousing of potato chips. Potato chips, is it agriculture products? No, it is not agriculture products, so it is taxable. Then commission received on sale of wheat, is it exempted? Yes, any kind of commission received for sale of agriculture products is exempted, so this will be exempted. Then charges for training of farmers on use of new pesticides and fertilizers developed through scientific research. It is extended allied agriculture services, which we had discussed. So this is also exempted. Then
renting of vacant land to stud farm. Stud farm मतलब a farm which is used for horses. ठीक है, horses हमने कहा कि any kind of thing will be exempted से हट जाएगा, it will be taxable. So had it been for cow farming or anything, it would have been exempted, but stud farm is taxable. Okay. Then leasing of vacant land to a cattle farm. See, यहाँ पे stud farm becomes taxable, but cattle farms becomes exempted. Okay, it is exempted. Then charges for warehousing of rice. Rice, paddy is agriculture produce, rice is not agriculture produce, but there is a specific exemption for warehousing of rice, so this becomes exempted. Okay. Then point number 10, charges for warehousing of cotton fabrics. Cotton fabrics is not an agriculture produce, so it is taxable. Be careful. Cotton is exempted, cotton fabrics is taxable. Then retail packaging and labeling of fruits and vegetables. Retail packaging, sir, you said retail packaging is taxable, but specifically there is an entry which says for retail packaging and labeling of fruits and vegetables is exempted. Other than these things, everything will be taxable, but fruits and vegetables specifically there's an exemption. So this is exempted. Then 12th point, charges for warehousing of minor forest produce. Minor forest produce is exempted. Yes, it is exempted. Then charges for warehousing of spices. Spices, is it exempted? Yes, where minor forest produce and spices is exempted. So total is what you have to add. So this is the value of taxable supplies. Okay. This is how you'll produce, present it instead of writing it, thinking of it, and then writing it. You know the crux of the question. This comes as a matter of practice. More and more questions when you solve, you'll get to know how do you present it. Okay, so you don't have to go to the question, think of it and answer. Just go and straightly write it because there are multiple points here. Don't spend time on reading multiple points. Write it, taxable, non-taxable, write it. Okay. Entries are only for reference, but not to be mentioned in the exam. It's only for your reference. But you could write somewhere some explanation saying charges for warehousing of potato chips, saying potato chips is not agriculture produce, so it is taxable. Wherever extra remarks you have to give to justify your answers, that definitely you can give it. Okay. Practical question also I'll upload definitely. What should be thought process while solving these questions? Thought process is time and your confidence. If you've studied the papers, you've practiced, you'll get that confidence. And timing, you'll have to manage. That will also come through practice. If you practice how to solve, then your time management will be there. Don't get frustrated or irritated that you are given a wrong answer or you don't know the answer. You have another question to answer. So concentrate on what you know instead of knowing what you don't know. What you know, answer them. If you have taken registration in composition, then it is mandatory to mention on bill of supply that I am under composition or nothing special. We have to mention that you are a composition and you have to mention that composition dealer registration taken under composition scheme. Sure, question and answer also I'll upload. Step marking is there for total wrong answer. You'll not get step marking is there for each step you get marks. You have to give details. Yes, you have to give detailed explanation to the notes wherever it is required. वेयरहाउसिंग ऑफ राइस टैक्सेबल होगा नहीं, वेयरहाउसिंग ऑफ राइस टैक्सेबल नहीं होगा क्योंकि वेयरहाउसिंग ऑफ राइस को उन्होंने स्पेसिफिकली एग्जेम्पशन में दिया है. जब मैं नोट्स अपलोड करूंगा आप चेक कर लीजिए. ठीक है. सो इट वाज अ वेरी गुड सेशन ऑन एग्जेम्पशन. 3 days session was given by the board of studies very well. We could cover up the questions, explanation in detail, take up your questions, I could answer them, and then we are able to take up and answer, take few practical questions also. That is a full-fledged chapter coverage. Very nice. Thank you very much for your active participation. Because of your active participation, only we are able to do this. While solving at home during first time study, should we practice solving question as per exam time to get accustomed with exam time management? Yes, yes, but not at the first time. Once you're thorough with the chapter, then you do your practice so that you are aware of everything and then you're practicing the time management. Case studies can come in MCQs. Yes, they can come in MCQs. एग्जाम में यूनिट वाइज नहीं आएंगे, चैप्टर वाइज नहीं आएंगे, मिक्स क्वेश्चंस भी आ सकते हैं, इंडिविजुअल नहीं आएंगे, मिक्स आ जाएंगे. एग्जेम्पशन, फिर टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई, फिर रजिस्ट्रेशन, ऑल ऑफ दिस मिस होके खिचड़ी भी आ सकता है. सो दैट आपको सभी कोई भी चैप्टर्स आप मिस नहीं कर पाओगे. आपको प्रैक्टिकल क्वेश्चंस में यू हैव टू रीड द ऑल द चैप्टर्स. Sure, Anand, you can review the previous videos. If the agriculture produce is inflated with perishable, then doing additional conversion provision is exempt. I did understand. If agriculture produce is inflated with perishable, then doing additional conservation process is exempt. Not understood your question. Please specify properly, Priyanka. We can use RCM. हाँ, जहाँ पे भी if you're writing a question, you can mention RCM. It is well understood. Is this lecture and self-study sufficient? I have seen students who have given response after taking a session. They come back to the next session and they say that I have only relied on your lecture and study material and they were sufficient. They have come up with such a feedback. MCQs for income tax and GST separately, not very sure. I think Board of Studies, somebody will come and clarify that. Will few topics which are not covered? Yes, they're not covered. So time and value of supply, I will take in next session. After that, your schedule will get updated for further chapters. You're not saying that this is complete. You will have further questions. Since some questions were coming up, I answered that. Very good. Thank you, Ms. Sapna. Okay. Thank you very much. We'll see you in the next session on the 10th.